You can pause and read the passage over there, and then you can possibly start the analysis. I'll zoom in, zoom out, so that you don't have any worries regarding reading from the screen. But it is advisable that every time I take you to the questions which are there in the right hand side, pause the video, at least try to form or frame a shadow answer. Okay. One last thing, Trident has started with your live sessions. If you're interested, you can check out the links. Let's start now. The conversation about the treatment of women in workplace has reached a crescendo of late. And senior leaders are increasingly vocal about a commitment to gender parity. That's all well and good, but there's an important catch. The discussion and many of the initiative companies have undertaken too often reflect a faulty belief, that men and women are fundamentally different. Now, my dear friends, at this point you should have understood that what is this passage going to be. This passage is heavily going to, draw from the fact that the argument is set for you, and that argument is that men and women are fundamentally different. This is something that either the author will support or will reject. Let's see what the author has done over here. The faulty belief that men and women are fundamentally different by virtue of their genes or their upbringing, or both, of course, there are biological differences, but those are not the differences people are usually talking about. Instead, the rhetoric focuses on the idea that women are inherently unlike men in terms of disposition, attitude, and behavior. Now, when I say inherently unlike men, there is a very interesting, how shall I put it? There's a very interesting tone to it, that, the author is going to be against this thing, that they're not unlike men. Let's read ahead. I hope you have understood what is given in the passage. The first para rather discusses about the treatment of women in workplaces and how the gender parity, or you can say in simpler terms, gender equality, needs to be adhered in the workplaces. Now let's read the next para. One of the assumed differences is marshaled to explain women's failure to achieve parity with men. Now, what sort of parity, we don't know. You can also understand this as equality. And the assumed differences, I'm pretty sure that the assumed differences I'm going to be reading in the upcoming line. So these are the kind of things that you should constantly tell yourself that this is something that I may find in the next line. Women negotiate poorly, lack confidence, are too risk averse, or don't put in the requisite hours at work because they value family more than their careers. Simultaneously, other assumed differences, that women are more caring, cooperative, or mission driven, are used as a rationale for companies to invest in women's success. Well, the first thing is that the first statement said that, women negotiate poorly, lack confidence, and all that is a reason why they are failing to achieve the parity with men. Is this the idea? Hang on to that. And then we continue. But whether framed as a barrier or benefit, these beliefs hold women back. We will not level the playing field so long as the bedrock on which it rests is our conviction about how these sexes are different. So is it because of these ideas that women negotiate poorly, they lack confidence, and they are risk averse? That is why they have basically not been able to reach the gender parity with men. And some other assumed differences are that women are more caring, cooperative, and mission driven, is used as a rationale for companies to invest in women's successes. So at one hand you see the barrier, the other hand you see the benefit. And the barrier and the benefit, whether it's a barrier, with these ideas of negotiating poorly and all that, or the benefit that, they are caring and all that, cooperative, is a benefit, still hold women back. Now this is something that you needed to understand. The argument specifically takes you over there. Let's read ahead. The reason is simple. Science by and large does not actually support these claims. Now, this is a fact that they have said. While there is a wide variation among women and men, among women and among men. Now, you could have simply just ignored this word and show that on average the genders are far more similar in their inclinations, attitudes, and skills than popular opinion would have us believe. Basically what they're saying is that both men and women are equally competent at negotiating, or incompetent, or lack confidence. So there is no scientific evidence to that. This is what they have written, or the author is emphasizing. We do see a gender difference in various settings, including workplaces, but those differences are not rooted in fixed gender trait. Rather, they stem from the organizational structure. This is a very interesting thing. Organizational structure, company practices, and patterns of interaction that position men and women differently. creating systematically different experiences for them. Right. When facing dissimilar circumstances, people respond differently, not because of gender, but because of the situation. Okay, so the idea that women are different because of their sex, or basically the gender, has been, let's say, they have taken it to the next level and said that even if some women are behaving in a different way, that may not be because of gender traits, but maybe because of some organizational structure or the company practices, or so on and so forth. Let's read ahead. Emphasizing gender differences runs the risk of making them seem natural and inevitable, as anecdotes that align with stereotypes are told and retold without addressing why and when stereotypical behavior appear. Gender differences are exaggerated and take on a determinative quality. Well-meaning but largely ineffectual interventions. Now, my dear friends, I must tell you, when I was reading it for the first time, I read this as intellectual. Please don't make those errors. This is ineffectual interventions, okay? And that is why you see I am underlining certain words that I think are power words. Power words. Well-meaning but largely ineffectual interventions then focus on fixing women, this is women, on accommodating them rather than changing the circumstances that gave rise to the behavior in the first place. This is a fine example. I would want to come back at it at some time. In my notebook, I would have written, if I were a student making notes, I would write that the fourth para has something powerful. So I'll come back to it, or maybe it will be required in the questions. Let's read ahead. Take the common belief that women are more committed. Okay, in the first place, take the common belief that women are committed to families than men are. In a study of Harvard Business School graduates, nearly everyone, regardless of gender. Now, what are we specifically looking at? We're specifically looking at the common belief that women are more committed to family. Women are more committed to family than men. So this is important. So there is a comparison, clear case comparison happening, and now they're giving us scientific evidence. The HBS grads, nearly in that result, or the study at the HBS grad, everyone, regardless of gender, placed higher values on their families than on their work. What does differ is the treatment mothers and fathers receive when they start a family. Women, but not men, are seen needing support. Women are not men, are seen needing support, whereas men are often, men are more likely to get the message that they need to man up and not voice stress and fatigue. Mothers are often expected, indeed encouraged to ratchet back and work. Okay. They are rerouted into less taxing roles and given less demanding, lower status, less career enhancing clients. To sum up, so basically what it's saying is that after some let's say the treatment of mothers and father basically is different, but then the bias that women are more committed to family is completely a hogwash according to the HBS study. Nothing more important. You can actually go on and on in this para, but you should ideally leave it at it. To sum up, men and women's desires and challenges about work-family balance are remarkably similar. Seriously investigating the context that gives rise to the differential pattern in the way men and women experience the workplace and intervening accordingly can help companies chart a path to gender parity. What exactly are they saying? They're saying that the desire and the challenges about the work-family balance are similar in men and women. This is basically all the crux of the passage, and investigating the context that give rise to differential patterns. So there may be some pattern at how women are doing something other than men, but if we give a investigating thing into that picture, why men and women experience men and women experience in the workplace and intervene accordingly, that basically can help chart a gender parity, this thing, path to the gender parity, other than speculating or hypothesizing that because of gender roles or genes or this and that, women are different, men are different. If you understood, this was a very interesting passage, a fairly readable, easy passage. I don't see why I would be in any problem answering the questions. Now let's go to the question. The first question here says that in the sentence, whether framed as a barrier or benefit, these beliefs hold women back. Barrier and benefit can be explained as. Now, first of all, it is advisable that you should go back to the passage. Where exactly did you find that word barrier and benefit, right? So, I think it was in the second para itself. Yeah, here it is. Okay. The barrier and benefit. I hope you can see that. Now, even I am facing some problem over there. So let me just erase everything. they are basically asking you for what is the barrier and what is the benefit in there. So the barrier and the benefit could be understood because of the assumed differences, and those assumed differences were that women negotiate poorly, lack confidence, are too risk averse, and basically they don't put in the requisite hour at work because they value family and all that. And other assumed differences is that women are more caring, cooperative, mission driven, are used as rationale for companies to invest in women's success. But one set of references or ideas are barriers, the other set of references are the benefits. We have to understand that both of these hold women back. We will not level the playing field so long as the bedrock on which it rests is our conviction about how these sexes are different. So we need to first of all understand that the sexes are not different, and they're not behaving differently because of their sexes or gender. It has to be circumstantial. So I think the shadow answer is formed. Let's look into the options. Biological differences between women and men. Okay, so we are looking at the barrier and the benefit. Biological differences between women and men, and perceived differences between men and women. Is this the barrier and the benefit? Assumed differences marshaled to explain women's failure to achieve parity with men, and assumed differences used to rational companies to invest in women's success. It was given there, so I will mark it as my, although I shouldn't do it, I should ideally read it in clear sight, but then I know for a fact it is given there in the passage. And then negotiation skills, confidence of women, and cooperative, mission driven nature of women. Is that the reason why companies are investing in women? That is also there. You need to understand that companies are investing in women because there is a benefit element to it, and there is a barrier element into it also. So maybe for that reason I can eliminate this one. For the first one, the biological difference is the reason for the barrier. I don't think so. The paragraph does not say biological differences. Is that the idea that was given in the para was that they were poorly negotiating, they are lacking confidence. Nothing biological as such has been given, eliminating this one. Biological difference between women and men, and similarities, so again goes out. So by and large this has to be my answer, also because I don't see why the investment through the companies in the women in the third option. So I would want to eliminate the third with that idea. Let's go to the next question. Which of the following is not an example of well-meaning but largely ineffectual intervention? This is the question that I got wrong because I told you that I was reading ineffectual as intellectual interventions, and that is perhaps one of the reasons maybe I could not even make sense of the question. Okay, again I'll read it once. You have to find out the option that is not an example of well-meaning, could be well-meaning but largely ineffectual interventions as mentioned in the fourth para. Ideally we should go to the fourth para. Let's go to the fourth para. 1, 2, 3 and 4. This is the fourth para. Emphasizing that gender differences runs the risk of making them natural and inevitable, as anecdotes that align with stereotypes are retold. We can skip this without addressing the stereotypical behavior. Gender differences are exaggerated on a determinative quality. Well-meaning but largely ineffectual interventions. Then focus on fixing women or accommodating them. Either we are fixing them or we are accommodating them. This was, I think, one of the reasons that you needed to understand, that we are either hell-bent on fixing the women or accommodating them, rather than changing the circumstances that gave rise to the different behaviors in the first place. Well, I have got my shadow answer. Let's go back to the passage now, or other questions. A company which offers parenting leave to women employees but doesn't offer the same to male employees. Well, I frankly am not able to make any sense of this. I'll just keep it at that. The company which has a strict timing policy wherein managers are encouraged to specifically bar women employees from staying back in the office beyond 8 p.m. Now, this is fixing the circumstances. This is what that was given in the passage, that we are not fixing women. We are also not trying to, let's say, accommodate the women, but at the same time, what we are trying to do is we are changing the circumstances. So this for a fact I know is not my answer, because the question is specifically asking you which of the following is not an example of a well-meaning but largely ineffectual intervention. A company which offers a parenting leave to a women employee but doesn't offer the same to male employee. I think this is out of context. On that note I can eliminate it, but I'll still keep it for the time being. Let's read option C. A company that offers a free transport to women working beyond the normal office hours to ensure their safety. Now this is well-meaning but largely ineffectual intervention. Why? Because we are trying to fix we are either trying to fix the women or we are trying to accommodate the women. So this is one of the reasons why I think this could be my answer. So for the time being I'll take this one. a company which promotes male employees over women for more physically demanding role that require long hours in the office and more travel. Again, I think this is about women and how well-meaning, however well-meaning an intervention is, but it will always be ineffectual if we focus on fixing the women or accommodating the women rather than changing the circumstances because of which those situations arrived in the first place. Because of that, they're complicating, you're taking you to the different direction. So that is why I think introducing men into the picture basically dilates the arguments and takes you from women to men. For that reason, I think I will eliminate A and D directly, and I would have chosen this one as my answer. Although I must admit, this is the question that I got wrong because I was reading ineffectual as intellectuals. All right, the next one. The study at HBS graduate cited in the penultimate para of the passage. First of all, penultimate is the para before the last one. Okay, serves an evidence. We know what it serves. Okay, so I'll read and I'll understand. So first of all, HBS, let me take you back to the penultimate para. Okay, that a common belief is that women are more committed to family than men are. This is the common belief that they were talking, and HBS study basically confirmed that nearly everyone, regardless of gender, places the higher values on family than their work. So basically they disregarded, or they eliminated this thing, the common belief. So this is basically the statistical evidence that they posed. Let's read the options. The option says, gender stereotypes are not backed by statistical evidence. Bang on could be my answer. I'll still keep it. Women pay preferential treatment at work through slower career, through slower career advancement. Not that women are more committed to their families than men are. Well, I mean, this is what HBS said, that both are equally. So this is also incorrect. Why am I taking it? This is also incorrect. Women and men face different challenges. Well, not meaning. So this has to be the answer. An easy one, easy pick. The last one, the author is most likely to commission which of the following studies to help companies chart a path to gender parity. Please understand what we are looking at. We're looking at men-women equality in the office. All right, a study that analyzes career advancement of women after childbirth. I don't know, I have no idea, I'll keep it. A study that analyzes the diversity at various levels of management hierarchy. Again, I'll keep it. The study that analyzes the policy of company policies, analyzes the policies a company follow, addresses issue. Okay, what the hell am I reading? A study that analyzes the policies a company follows to address issues raised by various employees. This is again going out of picture, astray. Okay, out of context. A study that analyzes differences in the nature of work delegated to male and female employees of equal competence and enthusiasm. Now please understand, the first one was again fixing the women, could not be the one that the childbirth and all that is something that will fix the women. So I don't think that the author will support that. The second one says that the study that analyzes the diversity at various levels of management hierarchy. I mean, this is out of context. Okay, so basically with that, eliminating one by one, you will realize that the last one has to be the answer, and that's it. Thank you.